Good afternoon, grade 8 coding peoples. It is the 20th of July, 2020, the entire day. Even if it rains, it remains that date. We are looking at while loops with a farmer. Puzzle 1 to 6 is what we're aiming for. If we do less, that's okay. If we do more, that's also okay. We have the power to adjust the schedule as we see fit. Some of the things we'll spend a bit more time on as they are relatively important. Some of the other things are maybe a little bit easier. We don't need to exert as much pressure when we do those. Right, so let me just quickly have a squiz through this participants list. I see a few old names here. I do see that some of the previous students that have been here for quite a while seem to be relatively quiet today. So I hope all is well. My chatter boxes are seemingly very quiet. Okay, anyway. So if you're new to this lesson, welcome. I am very happy to have you here. You can ask those that know me. I am deliriously passionate about computer sciences as a whole. I love coding, robotics, engineering, and design. A little bit less on the design side. I'm not too fond of designing purely because I'm not good at it, but that's okay, because once you know what you can do and what you can't do, you can collaborate with people that can do what you can't, and you can offer something that you can do which they perhaps struggle with. So collaboration is the name of the game in this digital era that we find ourselves in. So for those that might be watching the YouTube video, my name is Mr. Paul de Klerk, and that is a very Afrikaans name that I'm trying to pronounce in English, so excuse me for that. I lived abroad for 6 years where I worked as an English teacher, teaching English as a second language. And due to that fact, sometimes I have a bit of a strange accent when I'm speaking English. We were forced to teach with an American accent when we were there. So if you find those funny little words coming through, just excuse me, right? Now you understand why. I've been teaching coding with STEM Digital School for about 3 months now, give or take. I also work as Africa Teen Geeks' YouTube administrator, as well as the EdTech Systems trainer, right? So I learned how to code by teaching myself. I am a freelance web developer, and I realized that the software that I used to develop websites or web content wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. So I taught myself how to code so that I can achieve things that I couldn't with just using the software. That being said, when I learned how to code, these block-based systems, they might have existed, but I didn't know about them. So I learned the hard way through text and line-based coding. And if we have time again later on, I'll show that to you. So just so that you know, on the YouTube channel, in the video description box below, there are some links that you can use to register. If you would like to come and join us in our live lessons, you can click on those links. If you're a student that has access to an email, you can do it by yourself. If not, then you'd need to ask a parent or a guardian to sign up for you. And we do require registrations just because we're trying to make this online platform as safe for everyone as we possibly can, right? So you do also need to have access to the email address so that you can receive the newsletter, and so that you can then also verify your account once you've created it. Awesome. So that being said, when you're here, you have access to the chat box, which is there for us to say hi to each other, to chat a little bit before lessons, although Zoom is requiring us now to have the waiting rooms enabled. So if you join a lesson and you see the waiting room is on, just wait. That's what it's called, a waiting room. We will let you in as soon as the lesson is ready. They sent out an update, either waiting rooms or passwords. So we decided to use waiting rooms just to make it easy on everyone. So if you are here before the lesson, you can quickly have a good chat. This class is especially known for that. But once the lesson starts, I ask that you keep the chat box clear so that we can use it to share resources. I share the link to the coding platform with you in the chat box. And if you chat about other stuff, you can't find that link. Okay. Lastly, video cameras. I know accidents happen. Some people are viewing the lessons on mobile phones or tablets, and it's a touchscreen thing, and you accidentally press the button. We understand. We're all human. That's fine. If you do it 10 times in a row, it looks like less. It doesn't look like an accident anymore. Or if you switch the camera on and I see something that I'm not supposed to be seeing. If that is the case, then we are going to take some actions against that. Okay, let me get into this chat box quickly. I see somebody saying, sir, are there tests about coding? Yes, there are. Okay, so basically what's happening is this. The school has decided that we are going to implement informal testing. We're busy developing an entire system for this online learning experience, right? The school has developers, they're building their own coding platform as well, and they're working with the, I see Mercedes back. Welcome. Took you quite some time. Have you only had your first coffee for the day now? Natalie's also quiet, or she's just not here. She changes her name every day, so I don't know. Oh, there we go. Hello. All right. So the school is working with the department. They're creating a curriculum for coding, right? One that's going to be gazetted and taught in the schools as a full-on subject, right? So in the meantime, we are doing what we refer to as informal assessments. And what those informal assessments mean is that we are going to give you some assessments, you're going to do them, and we are going to review the answer sheets with each other. The idea behind that is for you to test yourself, to assess yourself, to see if you actually know what you think you know or what you're supposed to know, and then also for you to learn how we go about checking these question papers. Okay. For our coding platform, there is no theory behind this. All the theory is hidden behind those little blocks that we use. Okay. So once you go into the IT that the FET phases from grade 10 and up learn, they have theory because they learn line and text-based coding. We have much less theory because it's all hidden behind the blocks. So what I did is I created a document with 5 puzzles that you've done already. You're going to do those puzzles. We're going to come together and we're going to discuss them. I would love it if you submit what you did to me by taking screenshots and just sharing that with me. That would be awesome. Just so that I can have some sort of record as to where you guys are, what you might be struggling with, how I can cater my lessons to better suit your needs. Okay. But the main thing that you need to remember, it is informal assessments, right? Especially for coding, it is not a gazetted subject yet. It's not a school subject. Okay. Okay. At the moment, they should have actually had the maths one up and running today because that was when it was supposed to go live. But perhaps it'll only go live later this evening. I'm not sure. I myself went onto the website and tested the Zoom links and the assessment links, and it doesn't seem to be up and running yet. So please just be patient until they get that sorted. I'm sure somebody will inform you once they are ready. You'll see on the website, it says test links. So I'm not sure whether that means these are the links leading to the tests or that we are testing these links. But yes. Okay. I'm going to follow up with the admin of the school and I will have the maths teacher follow up as well. Okay. I understand that it has to be submitted before 10. The website is africateamgeeks.co.za, right? If you look here in our logo, let me just move my chat box there. You can see Africa Team Geeks. Do not forget the S. If you forget the S, you won't find us. An easier way is our YouTube channel is labeled the same. And all of our most recent videos in the video description box, we link to the website, right? The previous videos before I started working as the YouTube manager, they haven't done that yet, but we do at the moment. So you can go there. It's the same place where you register to find the links for these lessons. Okay. So yes, I will follow up for you on those tests. Luckily, the coding ones are only happening on the 29th. So I'm not too stressed about that. But okay, we'll have a look at that. For now, let us get into this lesson. Okay. Jeff Bezos, he is, or Bezos, or however you want to pronounce it, right? That's his name and that's his surname. I'm sure you can read, so you can figure it out for yourself. He is the Amazon founder and CEO. And he said, okay, now, just before, I've always had quotes on here from people who actually code, right? With him, I couldn't find any sort of article that says whether he can code or not. But the mindset that he's talking about in this quote, I thoroughly believe in this. It says, I knew that if I tried and failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not trying. So this is the way I live my life, right? I believe you only fail once you quit. Once you stop trying, that's when you fail. As long as you're trying, you haven't failed yet. You're just learning, right? So when I started creating websites, now listen to this, I was a teacher teaching English. I found out about this website idea and I thought, hey, I want to give this a go. The first 3 sites that I built sucked. They were horrible. The user experience wasn't nice. Links kept breaking. Buttons would break. The things wouldn't communicate properly. It was just a mess. But then I decided to not give up. I decided to keep trying and keep trying. And eventually I'm at a point now where I can actually build websites for people. I'm working on major platforms within the real estate sector because I have friends working in that sector. So I'm building a massive platform for that as well. So that's just goes to show sort of where the same mindset can take you. Okay. If you keep on trying, you should be fine. But the biggest regret for me would be if I don't try. Now for coding is the same thing. You're going to face a lot of hassles and issues and adversities. Don't let it get you down. Okay, that's enough of me preaching. Let's get into coding. That's why we're here, isn't it? Conditionals, if-else logic statements that change the way code is executed. So what that means is when we have just a basic statement on the coding platform in our workspace, it is going to try and execute, irrelevant to or regardless to what the restrictions are, what the play area looks like. The code is going to try to execute because we told it to. Now, when we take that, we put it into a conditional, we can tell this segment or sequence of code to say, okay, instead of just blindly executing because we said so, what we want you to do is check whether certain conditions are true or false before you decide the way that you act. Okay. So that's what they are. Now that is important, but what's more important is this, and this is the one that we're going to be using now. Conditional loops. So these are repeat blocks that use conditional logic in order to execute the code in a certain way. So these are repeats that execute while a condition is true or until a condition has been met. So we're going to start with while loops. So what that means is, as long as that condition is there, while that condition is true, while the statement can be verified, the repeat will happen, okay? The next one says it's an until loop, until condition. That one means it is going to repeat until a certain condition has been met. So by the time that the action starts, the condition is not true. But as soon as that condition becomes true, the repeat will stop. You'll see that in a bit more in our next puzzle. This one is only going to focus on while loops. So let's jump to the coding screen over here. I have to click on that. And yes, you have, I chose the dog for this lesson, for the grade 8 section, just because I find it cute. There, I said it. Okay, cool. So if else with B, let's finish that last one. I'm going to share the link with you shortly. Okay, there we go. So there's a link in the chat box. If you're new, the only thing you have to do is click on the link. It's going to open your browser. If it's like me, it's going to be a Google browser. Hopefully that's the one. If you then do prefer to use another one like Microsoft Edge, or if you are on Apple and you use Safari, that's fine. As long as you've got your browser window open, you can do the coding. And this section I've created for this class specifically. So on a Monday, I just run through it quickly. This is our GUI. So GUI stands for Graphical User Interface. And what that basically means is the interface that we use to interact with the software and the computer is using graphics. The reason for that is when the computer talks to its internal components, or two computers communicate to one another, they use binary code. Now we as humans, we don't process binary code very efficiently. Computers do. So for them, they don't mind to not have these beautiful pictures and words that are readable. But for us as humans, we want letters that we can read to understand. We want the different colors of things. We want the buttons to do stuff when you hover over them. It just makes our usage of the platform much more easy. Okay, so this graphical user interface, or GUI, if you click there, it's going to take you back to where we just were, where you can have access to all the lessons that we have done. Okay, and the ones that are still coming. So if you are new, yes, binary code is that 00110000. Okay, now that can actually translate into text like this. It translates into many other things. Binary code is just a way of counting. Okay, it right in the beginning of when people started to decide that they need to know how many things they have, they used to count just drawing those lines. You've seen that on the pirate movies, or if someone's in jail, they draw a line, and after they've drawn 4, they take the 5th one and they put it, cross it out. So that's a group of 5. We used to do that. So binary is a better way to count. It's an improvement on that. It is, however, not as effective as the one that we are currently using, the 0 to 10 system, underlying 0 to 9 system. However, when computers were created, it was decided that binary is the one that they're going to use. Okay, so if you click here, you can go onto those lessons. If you're new, you can go and catch up what we've done already, okay? And code.org is very good at showing you what to do and how to do it. However, they don't always go into the complete amount of detail as to why you're doing certain things in a certain way. That's why I am here to do it with you. Right, next to that, you'll see those green dots. Those are the puzzles that belong to this lesson. The green ones we've done, the white ones we're still going to do. Here are your instructions. I'll tell you what to do, how to do it. This is your play area where you can see the code happen. This is where all the magic happens. Your toolbox with different blocks, I'll explain each one as we use them. Your workspace where we will be creating our code. What we create here will happen there. This run button is connected to that when run block. So when you click here, anything connected to that will actually run as code. It has to be connected like that. You can see it's blue. If it's unconnected, it's shaded. And if you click run, it will do nothing. It'll tell you it's unused. But if you connect it and you then click on run, it's going to run. You can use the step button to debug, although I find it too slow. So I very rarely use that. Start over if you've decided this code is now just too jumbled up. You can start over, and there you can view the line and text based coding. It's only for the code that you create on the workspace that's being acted out here. The actual code that is showing all of this, you know, making the graphics and what do you call that? Rendering all of these, the animations and things. That's not visible in here, right? That's visible on the inspect page as I showed you before, but we'll get into that in the future. Right, so the first thing we need to do here is read the instructions. Conditionals can be helpful, even when you know exactly what is in each spot. Collect all of the nectar and make all of the honey. So here you can see, we can see exactly what is in each spot. There's a honeycomb, there's a flower, honeycomb, flower, flower, honeycomb, honeycomb. However, there isn't much of a pattern here. So to use a traditional repeat and just say move forward, get nectar, move forward, make honey, won't work in this case because there isn't a pattern. And we only have one make honey and one get nectar block. So now we need to solve the first problem first. How do we get the bee from there to there? We move forward. That's easy enough to understand. But once we're there, we need to do something. So now this is where we use this. This is an if-else conditional. What this is saying is if you are at a flower, if this condition is true, we want you to do whatever we put here. If it is not true, else, then we want you to do that. Okay? You can change this around to say honeycomb first. You just need to make sure that you've got your 2 blocks that you place in here the right way around. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at flower just to make it easier for us. One thing that you need to know about this block, this if-else block, it can only work if there will be one of 2 situations. Okay? If there are 3 options, this one will not work. If the block is going to be empty, this one will not work. Because once you tell the bee to get nectar or make honey on an empty spot, it's going to give you an error here at the top saying, I can't do that from here. So this if-else is only usable if we actually have one of 2 options. So what we're saying is if you're at a flower, we want you to get nectar. If not, we want you to make honey, because we know we only have one of two options, either get nectar or make honey, right? Now, when we do this, we run it, we see, oh, beautiful, it works for that first one. But we only have 6 blocks that we can use. We've already used 5. So we can't really do this again for 2 reasons. Number 1, we've exceeded our block limit. Number 2, it's shouting at us here, hey, you only have 1 of each. You can't do this, mate. So what we need to do is use a repeat block, and we can take any sequence and stick it into a repeat. You can even put another repeat in a repeat. That's called a nested loop. And then you need to count. So yes, just as Mandla has told us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And then you run the code. I see a lot of people, when you type the code for me, you give me the code, but nobody ever tells me to run it. You want me to take that responsibility in case something is wrong. Okay. Now, this is where I'm going to ask you a question, and I need you to answer me very honestly. Do you understand this basic conditional now? Because from the next one, we're moving into conditional repeats. If you don't understand this one now, you will not understand the conditional repeats, I'm telling you. Cheryl says she's still a bit lost. Awesome. Okay. Many of you get it very clearly. Right. So what I'm going to do is just one step back. I know it's a few puzzles back, just to quickly help Cheryl, because if there's one, there are always more. Okay. So the first one we had was this one. It is just an if statement, right? And this if statement said that if the bee is at a flower, we want the bee to do something. Okay. So this is going to be get nectar. Now, if you run this, you'll see if it will run. Come on. Oh, we need to move forward, sorry. And do that. Okay, so if you run this, you'll see what's going to happen is this one is going to make the bee collect or get nectar when the bee is on a flower. But look at what happens to this yellow here, right? I'm going to run it again. If there isn't a flower, it just goes back to that. But once there's a flower, it jumps to this get nectar block. The reason for that is this is a repeat. So it's obviously going to do this 7 times. So if this condition is not true, there isn't a flower, it's going to go back into the repeat. So this one is, you can use this when there is going to be a flower or there will be no flower. However, if you had honeycombs in here, you wouldn't have been able to use this one. You would have had to use a second one that said this, if at a honeycomb, then we want you to make honey. Okay, so this is just an if statement. So the ones where we are now has taken that one and combined it with another one. And this one says, if at a flower, do this. If you are not on a flower, else we want you to do that. Okay, so what that means is it's like saying if at flower, do get nectar, and if at honeycomb, make honey. Okay, awesome, great. Most of you are happy. We are continuing on to our next lesson 12. These ones are a lot of fun. Maybe I'll come back to them as a homework assignment. Right, so let's get cracking with this one. Hi, I'm a farmer. I need your help to flatten the field on my farm. Yo, I already have the solution here in a private chat to me. I haven't even shared the link yet. You guys are on fire. Well done. Okay, I need your help to flatten the field on my farm so it's ready for planting. Oops, now I just sent the link privately. There we go. Move the pile of dirt and use the remove block to remove it. Okay. Oh, move to the pile of dirt. Right. So we can break this into 2 problems. The first one is we need to move from there to there, right? We only have one move forward block. So the beauty is this block. I'll repeat. We can tell this to move forward, and we can count 1, 2, 3, 4 times and set that to 4. And we can test that. Remember, one problem at a time. We are going to, awesome, especially in the beginning, right? You break your problems down into, or your main goal into smaller problems. You follow the problem solving workflow, right? Identify the problem, create the solution, test the solution, adjust the solution, test the solution, adjust the solution, test, adjust until you found the solution for the entire thing. So here you can see we have now found the solution for our first problem, moving from there to there. The second solution is pretty easy. We just do that. Aha, and there I have my first student that is so confident that they tell me to run it immediately. Okay, so I just need to show you something here just in case somebody is not with us here. This remove needs to be after the repeat. Remember, code runs sequentially. What that means is what we put first will happen first, what you put second will happen second, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if we put this inside the loop, it is going to move forward once and remove once, and then loop again. Once, loop again, once. That's not what we want. If you run it, you'll see she's going to start digging holes all the way there. And that's not what we need. We want the earth to be flat to plant on. Something's not right. So what we want to do is, that's why I say break it into different problems so that you don't get confused. You don't want to put the solution for the second problem inside the solution for the first problem. So we want to move first and then remove. Okay. Are you happy with that? Can we continue? It seems like you are all comfortable with this one. 1, 2. One more yes and I'll click. Good. And then I got 2 more. Ain't that dandy? There we go. Correct. Move to the hole and fill it with 6 shovelfuls of dirt using the fill block. Okay. So now we are also going to break this into 2 problems. I already have the solution here. And I also have it in line and text-based form as well. Okay, so first problem, move from there to there. There's our solution. Easy as that. Okay. Now the second problem is we need to fill this hole, but this is a fill 1. We need to do it 6 times. So we just place this into a repeat and we tell it to go 6 times. Then we run. And now it's happened. And while I saw the line and text-based coding, I need to show you something quickly here. Look at this repeat. It says repeat 6 times, right? Look at this. This is the repeat there. Okay, up to there. From before, hey, come on. There we go. So this for loop is actually what the loop looks like. And later on, we are going to look at for loops. But just sort of remember the structure, right? So this is saying start at 0, continue until you've repeated more than 6 times or 6 times. And you want to repeat in an increment of 1 each time. Okay, but you'll see that later. And this, between the curly braces, this is what we are repeating. This is the action that we are repeating. Okay. So just bear that in mind. Yes, these ones are easy. So what we're going to do is continue on to our next puzzle. Are you happy with that? Got some yeses there. Share the link. Okay. So now we need to move there and we need to do this and we need to use as few blocks as possible. Now I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. This is pretty straightforward stuff, right? You do that, we do that, we do this, we say there 10, come on, and we're done. So this is the same thing we had in the previous 2 puzzles. Okay, this is not just moving downwards, but it's still moving forward because we're already facing that direction. So I'm just going to show this to you one more time. We're moving once to be on top of the pile. We are removing 1 10 times to remove 10. So the entire pile has been removed. Now I want to show you what's coming next. Are you ready for this? Can we move on? Okay. Because what is coming next is going to make our lives so much easier. And we're going to be using it even into functions. So I want to make sure that we understand it properly. It's still easy, right? Okay, we're not here to watch videos. If you want to watch the videos, you can do that on your own time. Okay, so here we want to see this. Look closely at the code below. What will happen when you click run, right? So this is saying move forward. And now we have our first ever conditional repeat, a while loop. While there is a pile, remove one. We can see there are 8. So let's see, nothing will happen. The farmer will never stop removing dirt. This farmer will remove dirt as long as there is a pile, then stop when the pile is gone. I don't know. We cannot choose the ever. We're coders, we need to figure out the problem and find the solution. So I already have 2 that's given me an answer there. What do the rest of you think? So again, look at the code. We will move forward. We have a conditional. Now, earlier where we said, if this is like this, do that. This is saying, as long as there is a pile, while there is a pile, we want you to do this. 4 people have said C, so I think we are pretty safe to choose C. Because if you are doing this without a teacher, Natalie, then you are allowed to choose that. And perhaps with a more graceful teacher, you're allowed to choose that. But I don't have grace for that. In my opinion, we are not allowed to choose that. But probably someone else is okay to have you say you don't know. But in my opinion, as a coder, you can't say you don't know. You have to figure it out. Okay, so this is now a bit of a story, right? This will look like this, and this, and this. But the problem is, what number do we put there? We don't know. And you can't change it after you've clicked run, because once you click run and she's there, you can see how many there are. There are 10. We've chosen 5. We can't change this now. The code is running. So in order to fix that, how do we do that? What can you tell me in the chat box? What do you think? How do we fix that? The while repeat block. Yes. Yes, there we go. That's perfect. While there is a pile. This while there is a pile does not limit to any number. It's not limited to 5. It's not limited to 10. So if there is 1 here under that question mark, whether there are 20 under that question mark, it's not going to make a difference, because it is not looking for a value. It is looking for a condition. And the condition is the pile. So as long as that pile is there, it's going to run. Okay, so this is the easiest example of this. I know that we were supposed to do 1 to 6, but I mean, I think we are good to go. So if you tell me, yes, you are comfortable, I'm going to move on to the next puzzle. Okay. Right. This one scares me, so I'm not doing anything. It's up to you to solve it. You are obviously quite eager. So we solved the first problem. You need to move not only to there, but the entire way. So we're going to place it in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How do we solve these? We don't know how many there are. There's 5 here and 5 here, but here we don't know. We're going to do this. And we're going to say remove. Okay, remember to say what to place inside this conditional loop. Okay, so here, what is going to happen is whether they, oh, this is what I wanted to say. Both of these, so this becomes a nested loop because we have a loop inside a loop, right? This is in a loop that is going to happen according to a condition, and this is a loop that's going to happen according to a preset value that we set it to, right? So you don't want this there, because what's going to happen then is you're going to move forward 5 times. Remember the sequential rule. You're going to skip all of that, and you're only going to harvest that last one. Not harvest, remove that last part. When it's inside, you're going to move forward 1 block, then remove all the dirt. Then move forward again 1 block, then remove all the dirt. Okay. Then again, forward and so on and so forth. That's going to happen 5 times. Okay. So does this make sense to you? Okay. We can't use the while there is a pile move forward like this, because then it's going to tell her to move forward as long as there are piles there. Right. That's not going to work. We can do this. This should make a move. Okay, well, they tell us it's an error beforehand. So yes, you've got the idea with this one. I think it is pretty easy to understand. This one's quite a bit of fun. So I'm going to leave it to you again. Okay, I'll code block for block as you type it in the chat box. So the first comment there was to say move forward. Okay. First, we need to just look at this. These are not piles, they are holes. Okay. So I understand where you're going with this, but this is going to be while there is a hole, fill one. While there is a hole, yes, not while there is a pile, because there aren't any piles. No problem. I just need to make that clear. Okay, repeat 5 times. But there's still a bit to do here. Just like this is not going to get us too far. So remember what I told you. Before you even start using loops and things, break it down into 2 problems. The first problem is, how do we move to get from there to there? So it's just a positional problem. Nothing to do with what you need to do where. So you're going to obviously move forward, turn right, move forward, turn left. If you run that, you should see this. Okay, so now you're happy. Now you can see that this is in one line, that is in one line, that is in one line. So if we drop this in here after we've turned right, okay, you can see what's going to happen. That, okay, and there. So what we do need to do is just add this in there as well to make sure now that we've completed one line. Okay. Now that we've done this, we've moved from there to there, we're facing this way again. So the pattern is the same as what we had there. And we filled up 2 holes. There are 6 holes that we have to fill up. How many times are we going to repeat this entire sequence now? So listen carefully. Our current solution moves us from there to there. You can follow the mouse pointer from there to there. And then we're facing this way. So it's exactly the same as what we've done there is now going to happen there and there, or should. In this line from there to there are 2 holes. Here are 2 holes, here are 2 holes, there and there. Our current solution is going to solve 2 holes. So if we have 2, 4, 6, we do 2 of them at a time. How many times do we have to repeat that to make this thing work? Okay, I'm afraid we ran out of time, so I'm just going to show you. It's going to be 3 times, because 3 times doing 2 things is going to give us 6. Excuse me. There we go. So that's done. Thank you. Do note that if you do it this way, if you place the filling of the hole before the turn, it doesn't make a difference. Please pay attention that it is still happening sequentially, but it doesn't make a difference. In this solution, it's going to still solve that. Right. So instead of going back to that other ones, I actually want to leave you with this one. This one is quite a bit of fun, and it now has a different conditional repeat in there. You can practice on. So what I would love for you to do is to take that link. It's for puzzle 9. Do that as homework. If you would like to email that to me, I would love to see that. So you can take a screenshot and send it to me. Please just mention on your email Hi, this is my name. I am in grade so-and-so, right? I teach 3 grades in senior phase. I'm involved in the other coding classes as well a little bit. So it gets a bit much for me to try and remember where everyone fits in. Okay. So our next lesson, we were going to do 7 to 13. So we'll obviously do 9 to 13. And if we go past that, then we go past that. That's awesome. Okay. It's not a problem at all. But I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank the awesome host that we had here today. He's a new host with our school. His name is Jamie, and he's doing a stand-up job. Without our hosts, we won't be able to do these lessons. So a big shout out to them. If you guys have any questions, you can send me an email here. You can also send me a screenshot of your homework here. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube by searching for Africa Teen Geeks. Or you can just search for Africa Teen Geeks on Google or any other search engine, and you should find our website where you can find all the information that you need. And I will let you know tomorrow whether those links are working for the assessments, and I will report it now that they are not working so that we can try and get that fixed. All right, have an awesome evening. Thank you for being here. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.